ever cooking show. Today, we are going to be showing you how to cook chicken stir fry in this amazing facility, the Culinary Lab at Madison High School. And we just want to give a huge shout out to Ms. Gilford, the Culinary Lab teacher, for allowing us to use this amazing space for this film today. So, the first step in cooking anything is preparation of the ingredients. But even more important than that is making sure that your area is safe and washing your hands. I know you've heard that so many times recently, but it's still very important. And make sure you're using your ABCs 2 times or however long you're supposed to. Wash your hands. And next, what we're going to be doing is prepping our vegetables. All of these vegetables are sourced locally, either from my own garden or from the farmer's market in Marshville. So the next thing we're going to need to do is wash off the vegetables to make sure that there's no dirt or pesticides or bugs or anything else on them. So I'll wash off the onions. These carrots. And the peppers. And now, since those ingredients are prepped, we are ready to move on to the next part, which is cutting up the vegetables. Before we do that, however, we'll get the buttered chestnuts ready, which are an ingredient in the stir fry. So you can find these as a can, and the way that you open them is just simply using a can. That's a lot of fries. Alright, and now that that's open, be careful taking out the lid. And we'll use our strainer to strain it to get all the water off of it. And there, the water peppers are ready for an introduction into the dish. But next, we need to cut up our vegetables. For the next part of preparing our vegetables, we're going to cut them and make sure they're ready to go into the dish. So the first thing that I'm going to be preparing are the carrots. And for these 2 carrots, I've already prepared them to be cut, but this one still needs to be the skin needs to be shaved off, so I'll show you how to do that now. The first thing that you want to do is start by cutting off the ends. And then you want to take this instrument and peel off the skin, like so, and just do it around the whole carrot. And you still need to be careful with this instrument because it is sharper than it looks. So you don't want to get any fingers caught in it. So as you can see, you just go along and cut off the skin. And once that is finished, we will cut up the carrots to be put into the stir fry. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut it in half. And a bit. Then I'm going to cut them into and make sure to be careful with your hand and make sure you don't put it in the way of the knife. And then when I have them like this, I'm just going to cut them in half again. And there is one carrot prepared and I'm just going to fry. So I will just cut up the next one, the other carrots. The same way, I'll start by cutting it in half. And then cut it long ways. So that you have strips. And make sure you're pressing nicely. And then cut them long ways so that you make little strips. And the bigger the carrot, the more you might have to cut it to make smaller strips. Like for this one, I'm going to cut it 3 times. And for this barrel, I'm going to cut it twice. Try to make even-sized strips so that they'll cook around the same time. If they're not perfect, that's fine. And now I'll just cut the next one. Start by cutting it in half. And then cut them down the side. And be careful while. And then cut it down the side, make little strips. And there is our carrot. I will move everything out of the way so that we can prepare the next. The next vegetable I will be preparing is the onions. These are spring onions that I bought from the local farmer's market. And the way that I'll prepare them might be different than how you will prepare an onion that you might get at Equals. But to prepare these spring onions, what I'm going to do is peel off the outermost layer. so. And once I fill that up, I'm going to cut the ends. And I'm going to cut right here. Then what I'm going to do is cut it in half so that we can put it all together. And just cut them like this.
Please watch the directions.
And that is one onion here. And then Jenny was trying to do an onion. So start by peeling off the outer layer. And now what I'm going to do is cut off the top part. Cut off the end. Cut it in half. And start cutting it into small pieces. And there's that onion under. And I think that's going to be enough onion for our stir fry. So I'll put this off to the side. And next, I'm going to show you how to cut this bell pepper. This bell pepper was grown in my garden, so it might look a little different, but what I'm going to do is start by cutting it in the middle and to cut it in half. And cut it like that. And I'm going to cut out this stem part right here with all the seeds. The seeds are the spicy part of the pepper, so you don't want that. You don't want any of those in our like that. I'm going to do it on the other side as well. And then I'm going to cut them on the side into strips, like so. I'm just going to do that around the top. And then I'm going to cut this bell pepper. Always be careful. And I'm going to cut these strips in half so that we have smaller pieces to work with. And there's our bell pepper. Now I will move on to the last vegetable that we need here, which is going to be the red pepper. I'm going to cut up a few of those. So these are red peppers. I got them from the local farmer's market, Marshall Farmer's Market. And the way that I'm going to cut these is similar to how I cut the bell pepper. So I'm just going to start by cutting it in half. And they're smaller, so into here to cut. And then I'm going to cut out the stamens. And the reason I'm adding both green pepper and red pepper is that the red pepper will add a lot of color to the stir fry that otherwise wouldn't be there. If you don't want, you can pick and choose whatever vegetables that you want to add, really. I'm just giving more of a suggestion of what you can add. So I'm going to cut this down. And then I'm going to cut it. And I'm going to cut one more to add to the stir fry. So I'm going to cut it down. And cut out the stem. And there is all of our vegetables prepped. And before I move on to the next part, I'm going to clean up my presentation and make sure that everything is nice and clean. And then the next part is going to be cooking on the stove. So I will see you over there. So before we start prepping the stove, we want to make sure that we have all the ingredients ready for when we start cooking. So we have our chicken, our vegetables, the water chestnuts that we strained, and we have our shiitake mushrooms, which we haven't discussed yet, but these are also vegetables that we will add when we add the others. And we have our 2 oils that will be cooking the chicken and vegetables in, sesame oil and vegetable oil. And then we have the components to make the sauce, which we'll be adding after we garnish. So make sure you have all of the stuff on hand and ready for when we add it to the pan while we're cooking. And the tools that we are going to be using is a spatula. I have this spatula. And I have these measuring spoons to measure out the right amounts for things. And I have this bowl and this spoon so we can make the sauce to add to the stir fry. So just make sure that your area is prepared before we start to cook. And I have this skillet here. It's kind of a small wok, which is what people used to make stir fry with. And I'm going to turn on the stove, and I'm going to set it to medium to high heat. So somewhere around here. And I'm going to, while I'm waiting for it to heat up, I'm going to add the oils. So I'm going to be using a tablespoon, and I'm going to be using a tablespoon of sesame oil. And I'm going to be using a tablespoon of vegetable oil. And while we wait for that to heat up, I just wanted to talk about the reason why we're making this show. So one of the main reasons is that we want to highlight local agriculture and how you as an FFA member or a community member can become involved with local agriculture through the farmer's market or other methods. So while we are going to be cooking during the downtime where we have to wait for the chicken to cook or wait for the vegetables to cook, there will be little informational segments and maybe even some interviews to talk more about local agriculture and how you can support local farmers in the area. So we are waiting for this oil to heat up so we can add the chicken to the pan. While we wait for the oil to heat up, I just wanted to take some time to talk to you more about how we got some of the ingredients that you saw us cut in the previous segment. First, I wanted to talk more about the green bell pepper. This bell pepper we are using for the recipe is actually from my family's personal garden, grown from a plant that we got from Madison FFA's very own plant sale. Caring for the plant is simple enough. We just water it every day and watch for pests. It grows alongside our squash and zucchini plants, and while we have a lot of learning to do about how to plant the starters and take care of the plant, we still have plenty of vegetables to use in delicious recipes. This simple story is proof that if any of you watching wants to start your own small garden like mine, all you have to do is do a little research and you can simply begin. After that little explanation of my family garden, I just wanted to show you really quickly. As you can see, our squash and zucchini plants are really big. In the top left corner is the bell pepper plant. But here is just an example of one of the zucchinis that we're growing. We have huge zucchinis growing on our plant. And beside it is the squash plant. And right now, I'm just going to show you our bell pepper plant. It's a lot smaller than the others and it might be a little crowded from the other plants, but you can see there is another bell pepper growing on the plant. So, as I said earlier, we aren't professional gardeners by any means, but we were able to take care of this little garden and grow vegetables that we are able to use in delicious meals like the stir fry that you are watching me make now. Well, it's a little too late now to start planting zucchini and bell pepper plants. A great type of plant you can grow all year round indoors are herbs. Planting herbs you use often while cooking is a great way to start out your very own garden. Growing herbs is not a difficult process at all. All you have to do is find a pot with enough drainage holes, good potting soil, and a spot in your house that gets 6 hours of sunlight every day. Water your plants often enough, and soon you'll have your very own ingredients for the next meal you cook. If you're interested in learning more, I would highly suggest doing your own research on growing herbs. From my experience, growing your own ingredients to make a meal with makes it taste even better. I think I'm going to add the chicken. So now I'm going to add the chicken to the pot. I have chicken that's already pre-cut for meatballs. If you don't have pre-cut chicken, you can just get chicken breasts and cut them into little sections like you see here. And when you add them to the oil, it's going to start sizzling, so be very careful to not get burned. And this chicken is going to cook for 5 minutes. You can tell it's done when it turns sesame brown. And the internal temperature needs to be high enough where there's no bacteria in it still. So after we're done cooking it, we'll test with a meat thermometer and show you what temperature it needs to be. But for now, I'm just going to let it cook.
After learning more about growing your own vegetables and herbs at home, it's important to learn more about how you can impact local agriculture even more. Buying from and supporting local agriculturalists is actually a lot easier than you might think. For example, every Saturday in Mars Hill, on the Mars Hill University campus, there is a farmer's market. There, local agriculturalists sell vegetables and other handmade goods. There is a huge variety of different types of fruits, vegetables, and other agricultural products available there, and depending on which vendors are there will be something new every week. You may have noticed earlier on I mentioned that 2 different ingredients I used to make the stir fry, the red peppers and the spring onions, both came from the Mars Hill Farmers Market. I was able to talk to the person in charge of the farming operation that I brought the onions from, and ask them a few more questions about their operation and how the farmers market affects this farming operation. Here is the interview. So, does your farming operation have a name?
Yes, we are Long Valley Farm, Long Valley Ecobiotic Farm.
What does that mean, ecobiotic?
For us, it means that we work, in accordance with nature. We try to, keep the ecosystems going and keep everything. We don't use, we're uncertified organic, so we want nature to be doing well around our farm instead of not so well. We have bees and things like that.
That's pretty cool. And does your farm grow a specific kind of crops, or do you try to grow like a wide range of them?
We grow a wide range because we do a CSA. Some people, they sign up in May. Well, they sign up sometimes the year before, but and the market, it starts in May, and it's for 20 weeks. They get a box of a variety of produce that we have fresh each week, starting in May, going toward to October, and so we try to cover a large variety so they can have a nice box every week.
Yeah. And can you tell me more about how you grow those onions right there? Because we actually, in the video last week, I came to the farmer's market and got some onions from this stand, and I used them in the video, so I think it would be really interesting to talk more about how those specific crops are grown. So can you tell me a little bit more about those?
The onions, these particular ones, we start from seed in February in trays, and then so then we put them out in, I guess, April, May. We set them out they're just little guys, and then this year has been extra good. I would say this has been one of our best onion years ever.
That's good.
And honestly, I was about to throw up my hands because sometimes they just wouldn't do very well.
Yeah.
So yeah, they've done really well this year.
Yeah, and just one last question. So, can you talk more about how does the farmers market specifically impact your operation? Yeah, that's the question.
Well, this year, this is the only market that we come to this year. Usually we go to other markets, but due to COVID and this being the closest to our house, we've decided to focus on this market. And this year has been great. It's been a really good year at this market so far. And it's been really nice to see more vendors. It's been really good.
As you heard in the interview, this local farmers market has had a huge impact on this local operation. This market is the only one that they have been able to sell at all year, but thanks to the community of Madison County, they said that they have had a great year so far. Just like the other residents of Madison County, you have the amazing opportunity to support amazing local farmers like this one by shopping at the Mars Hill Farmers Market. I would highly encourage each and every one of you to stop by the farmers market one Saturday to check out what the vendors have to sell. If you do, you might find something great that you can use to make your next delicious meal.
Okay. Whenever your chicken has been cooking long enough, then it starts to get lightly brown on all sides. You want to add the vegetables that you cut. So all the vegetables that we have cut up previously, I'm going to just add them here. And be careful when you add them of the oil. And after you add them in, you want to stir it constantly to make sure that the vegetables are getting cooked. I'm going to add in the mushrooms after I cut them off. I'm just going to cut them in half. I'm going to add a few mushrooms. And be careful when you are cooking with the oil.
As the vegetables cook, I just wanted to let you know where you can find out more information about the Mars Hill Farmers Market. There is a website, marshillmarket.org, that has all updated information about their location and precautions taken during the pandemic. Also, there is a page dedicated to specific information about individual vendors that regularly attend the market and what they usually have for sale. If you have a specific question you want to ask, there is even a contact form that you can fill out, and they are usually very quick to reply.
While this is still cooking, I'm going to move over to the side and I'm going to start working on the sauce that we need to make. So, in another bowl, we are going to combine one cup of chicken broth. One-fourth cup of hoisin sauce. And this is the kind that I have. 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. Tablespoon. Actually, this is gonna get one teaspoon of brown sugar. And 1 tablespoon of salt. Perfect. And I'm going to use this spoon and stir it up. Just do that. If you do make a mess, just make sure that you clean everything up. I'm sure your parents don't want to clean stuff for you. And since this has been cooking for a while, what I'm going to do is add in the water chestnuts and stir those in. And then I'm going to add the sauce. And I will stir that in. And what you want to do is bring this to a boil. And once it starts to boil, you will turn it on low heat and let it simmer for another 5 minutes. We are going to let this simmer after turning down the heat just a little bit. We're going to let it simmer. And while it's simmering, the sauce is going to thicken up. So we will just leave that alone for a second. And while everything is still cooking, I'm just going to go ahead and start cleaning up now so it doesn't get very and making sure all the lids are closed. And making sure all the things that we've used are going to be going. And open. And make sure to wipe up any mess that you need. After this stir fry has simmered for long enough, the sauce will thicken up. And as you can see, looks like this stir fry is ready to be served. You're going to turn off the stove. Make sure everything is off. And there you have it. Delicious stir fry. And you can serve this with rice or rice noodles. And there you have a delicious meal. And all this was made using local ingredients from the local farmers market. And we really hope that you enjoyed this cooking show and are proud of what you were able to achieve. It might not look perfect, but in the end, it's something that you made using your local resources. So that we hope that you enjoyed the episode, and maybe in the future, we might make even more. So thanks for tuning in.